Because I don't know who that is.
It's not Gee. It's Guy. It's Guy Choate, everybody.
Yeah! Guy Choate.
Thank you, Bayou. This sucked earlier, but I'm drunk now, so let's do it. I own a house in Arkansas that I'm trying to refinance, and I've been trying to for about a whole year now. I don't know if you've ever tried to refinance a house when you're unemployed, and you have been unemployed for 3 straight years. So I'll just tell you that it's hard. The banks have been under the microscope on home loans, of course, and so they in turn push the microscope onto their customers, which means I've gone back and forth with my refinance manager, who's a woman named Deetra. She's really nice. About lots of details from my past. Finally, Deetra told me she needed me to explain some of the addresses she found associated with my name. It seemed to me like my bank was concerned I might be trying to hide something. I was afraid they were going to need me to explain why my name was associated with the address belonging to the Horseshoe Casino in Tunica, or the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Those would have more to do with what they're probably concerned about than the addresses they're paying attention to. Anyway, in response to a letter they wrote, I tried to clear some things up for them. Dear City Mortgage, regarding my residential history, number 1, I currently reside at 928 Conti Street, New Orleans, Louisiana 70112, and have since late October 2011. I'm at my present address while attending graduate school at the University of New Orleans. Of nonfiction, the University of Nonfiction. Upon completion of school, estimated December 2012, I plan to move to Richmond, Virginia, but I don't have that address available to me yet. I'll let you know when I do. But for the time being, I make my girlfriend egg sandwiches in New Orleans nearly every morning, and we eat them on our balcony, and it is the best life I've ever known. Lately, I've wondered if all those eggs are bad for my cholesterol level, though. Number 2, August 2010 to October 2011, 1428 Charter Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70116. This is where I moved to go to school. One night I heard someone get robbed at gunpoint outside while I was sprawled out in my bed trying to get some sleep. After I walked outside in a pair of shorts to latch the shutters, and a drug dealer told me that he knew the guy wasn't going to shoot, so he just ran. He was apparently correct. That house was a shotgun though, and my roommate and I eventually needed our own space. Number 3, 2007 to August 2010. I lived at 245 Goshen Avenue, North Little Rock, Arkansas 72116, the property in question. I bought the house because I had a job and a wife and those types of things. However, my wife and I decided to divorce, and my job decided to lay me off, so I went back to school to try and relive my college days while also bolstering my resume. I have no hard feelings toward my wife, nor my employer. Everyone involved made the smart move, I think. Number 4, September 2006 to July 2007. I lived at 80 Talbot Avenue, number 203, Memphis, Tennessee 38103. I moved there after college to teach high school English in the city where my sister was planning to start a family soon, but I got asked to pass students who were failing so that my school could get more funding. I refused, so my boss stopped paying me, and then I waited tables until I got tired of tourists, at which point I started looking for another job. Number 5, December 2005 to the summer 2006. I had a terrible landlord at 3317 Markham Avenue in Little Rock, Arkansas 72205. My girlfriend and I moved in together prematurely and ended up getting in lots of arguments over petty things. Later we got married and divorced. See number 3. Number 6. November 2003 to December 2005. I lived with my dad and stepmother at 610 East 6th Street in Little Rock, Arkansas 72202. Those were good days. I was finishing up my undergraduate degree, and the 3 of us were as close as we've ever been. Downstairs, my stepmother had a law firm, and sometimes I would wander down in my boxer shorts only to realize there was a deposition going on. Awkward. Number 7, January 2003 to October 2003. I lived at Eagle Base, Bosnia-Herzegovina, where I was a NATO peacekeeper and an Army journalist. My last day there, I was sat down and told, officially, that I was a veteran and would have a VA home loan waiting for me, as well as health care for the rest of my life. However, I've had diarrhea since June of 2010, and when I asked the VA to take a look at my bowels, they denied my health coverage because I made too much money at the time. It was $11,000. And if I would have ever gotten that home loan, I wouldn't have come to you guys. But having a mortgage drag me down and occasionally crapping my pants at 30 years old isn't so bad, since I've got a few medals to pin to my chest, is it? Number 8, fall 2001 to January 2003. I live with my dad and stepmother at number 2 Oakwood Drive, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72205. They traded a condo, see number 9, they had, and some dollars to a girl for this house. The girl wanted something smaller, we wanted something bigger, it all worked out. Except then she got an even smaller place at an Arkansas correctional institution after she stabbed her mother with a kitchen knife 74 times in a house a couple doors down from the house on Oakwood. I wrote her a letter last year saying I thought she seemed like a nice person when we met. And I suggested we sort of become pen pals, which might be fun. She never responded, but I like to think she enjoyed the picture I drew of what I looked like on that day we met in the hopes that she would recognize me. Maybe she never responded because my drawing probably didn't turn out accurately. After all, I'm not a stick man. Number 9, March 2001 to fall 2001. I live with my dad and stepmother at 2400 Riverfront Drive, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72205. I had just come back from learning how to be an Army journalist and a soldier. My dad and new stepmother bought a condo when they thought it would just be them, but then I moved in because it was cheaper than Dad getting me a place to live while I was in school across town. And then my oversized 14-year-old stepbrother moved in because his dad wasn't making him do his homework. We had to share a room. I thought he was slobby because I was used to things being neat and precise, having just been in basic training. He was a large boy who roamed the house with a block of cheese he'd made from those individually wrapped Kraft cheese slices. That might have eventually done me in if he hadn't knocked over my DVD tower first. Long story short, we ended up dividing our... Is that you, Eric? Long story short, we ended up dividing our small room with a line of Post-it notes placed down the center of the carpet. He could eat his cheese on his side, I could alphabetize my DVDs on mine. Dad and my stepmother realized very quickly we needed a bigger place. See number 8. Number 10, October 2000 to March 2001. I lived at room 116, Student Company, Fort George G. Meade, Maryland, where I learned how to be an Army journalist. I had a roommate named Bell, who was a really nice guy from St. Louis that I thought had a funny accent. And then when we went home for Christmas, we came back to find we had a new roommate who decorated our room with plastic army men, so we called him G.I. Joe Boy. I miss those guys. Number 11, March 2000 and October 2000. I lived at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, where I had to stand at the position of attention for so long in the sun one day that my head expanded until my hat wouldn't stay on it anymore. I resided at the infirmary for a few days after that, but I won't include a separate entry for that unless I hear back from you to do otherwise. Number 12, January 1990 to May 2000. I lived at 709 North Main Street, Beebe, Arkansas, 72012 with my mom and dad and sister. The house had been my great-grandmother's until she died, which is when we moved in. My sister and I loved the long, thin hallway. There was a string that hung down from the attic door with a plastic handle on it. We used to run and jump up and hit it so hard that the plastic would smack against the ceiling and break apart. I was sad when there was no more plastic to break apart. When I get homesick, this is the home I am sick for. Number 13, January 1982 to December 1989. I lived on Red Hill Road in Floyd, Arkansas with my mom and dad and sister. I don't remember the address, but we were way out there, down this long dirt road. I used to have trouble sleeping because of a recurring nightmare about these Doberman pinschers that would chew on my legs. I would knock on the wall just north of my headboard sometimes, and if my mother was still up, she would come get me out of bed and we would sit in the dark of the living room and drink hot chocolate. She still drinks hot chocolate at night like that, but I don't have that dream often anymore. I think Doberman pinschers are very nice dogs. I hope this clears up what needed to be cleared up. If not, let me know and I will try to be more thorough. Sincerely, God Choate. Thanks, y'all. All right, I realized I forgot to mention that we have new Gold Room people that we introduced last year, but you new kids weren't here. So Melissa Remark is one of our new Gold Room people, and Kelly Bones Jones.
Yeah, nice.
There she is.
Nice.
And also we have Lee. What's Lee's last name?
Downing.
Lee Downing. And that's us, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Neil? I think Neil's still on the committee.